there a timer on there?
There we go. There's no timer. We need to set one. Okay, here we are. It's Monday. We're setting a timer right now, so ignore my not paying attention to you.
Yes, welcome to Southern Utah Community. This is again Keith Couch with my long-lost sister, Melinda Goodwin. She's a realtor and I'm a builder here in Southern Utah, and we just keep thinking that you need to know as much as you can about Southern Utah and what we have. Today we want to talk about demographics to kind of give you an overall picture, everything from family to employment to schools, just a lot of information that a lot of people are looking for with regard to moving here to Southern Utah.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the questions a lot of people ask is how are the schools here? What kind of industry is here? As a matter of fact, I've been speaking to a real estate agent in San Francisco, and I was asking him, how do I get people who are wanting to change, wanting to move out of the Bay Area into Southern Utah? And it was to explain what kind of industry we have here. Do we have crime? You know, what are our schools like? We need to let people know that sort of information.
Very little crime, by the way.
We have maybe one double homicide a year.
And almost no graffiti. And if they are, it's not by gang members, just little kids being, punks.
Little kids.
That's about it. So and also zero tolerance for graffiti as well. Right. Some demographics here. We're at a population close to 150,000 for the Washington County area. Roughly about 80,000 for the city of St. George.
Right. Can I show that map?
Do you think it'll you sure can.
Look, let's see if you can see.
Here's a map of the Washington County area.
It'll work. So this is a map of the Washington County area. You have different cities. I gotta go up there?
Yeah, go up there and point.
Oh my gosh, I'm sucking this up. Okay, we have different cities. We have like Ivins. Okay, let's start here. This is St. George. This is the hub of it. Down here is Las Vegas. Up there is Salt Lake City. So you have St. George. Off to the west is Santa Clara, and then Ivins. Ivins is an upcoming area where they're trying to do a lot of improvements. So you have the USDA zero down, first time buyer home assistance up there. Then we go to Washington City here, and then you have Hurricane, which also has the USDA, I believe, for 3 or 4 more years. And then Leeds, Tokerville, and La Verkin. La Verkin is the mouth of, help me out here.
Zion National Park.
Zion National Park, thank you. And La Verkin also has that first-time home buyers assistance, zero down payment stuff. I think that they were doing like $6,000 closing costs, that sort of
zero down, rural development loan.
Yeah.
If you move out to the farther areas of St. George, you'll find probably a little more affordability unless you go into Zion. Into Springdale, it gets to be really, really costly there.
Yeah.
It's a very heavily trafficked tourist environment there in Springdale. But that's basically the map of St. George. Washington County area, again, all those populated areas comes to about 150,000 people. Well, the bulk of most of that here in St. George proper area, in the St. George City area.
Right. And I'm finding on the MLS lately there is much more listings in the La Verkin area. It seems like before, say, January-ish, there was 1 or 2, but every day now there seems to be 3 or 4. So La Verkin's really starting to grow.
Some of our population demographics here in the Washington County area, under 18 is 30% of our population is under the age of 18. That's a high number. We have
well, we're from Utah.
We multiply and replenish the earth.
Although it says that 2.9, the average household is 2.9.
That's right.
People. So we just have what?
What does that come to?
0.9 kids.
0.9 kids, yeah. So at least we're replacing one of us, but not quite 2 of us.
I don't think so. There's a lot here that have 6 and 7 children.
Yeah, I think because of our retirement community, we have more that they probably produced at one time in their life, but they're not here now.
They're
they're retired or whatnot. So even 30% being under age 18, that is almost a quarter, a little less than a quarter of our population, if I'm correct. A little less
30%?
than about 19% of our population is under the age of 18, by the way. And 65 and older these are older numbers, but right now 65 and older, that's probably around 17, 18%.
But that's not I would think that's residents, right? So that's not all
Residents.
your people that come as second homes or come during the winter. There's a lot of people that are retired that will go travel all summer long, but come here for the winters because we have such mild winters.
Right, median age a couple years ago was 31. Now it's probably a little higher, closer to 34, 33, right? That's probably our median age. So we're a younger population, not an older. If you were to call this an old town or a new town, we are really a new town. Even though we were founded in the 1800s, we are really a new town with our age, our youth, our growth, and our projected growth. So we're really basically, you're not going to see a lot of kind of an old money type town you'd find back east.
Right.
You'll find a lot of new money here, a lot of
hardworking business owners.
A lot of entrepreneurs, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. If you were to go into, let's say, the San Fernando Valley in California, that'd be a lot of old money now. If you were to go there in the 70s, that'd be a lot of new money. So we're kind of in that situation. We're a growing new money environment. Median family income is probably around 58,000, 57,000 right now.
Right.
That's high, really, to be honest with you, in this area, but that's only put there because of a lot of hospital administrative, education administrative jobs and that kind of thing. But you'll find that a lot of administrative stuff will pull that median income.
Well, one of the biggest employers here is IHC, which is the hospital. And I think that with that being said, as one of your bigger employers, you have a lot of RNs, a lot of, RNs make about $50,000 a year here. So that's probably where most of that comes from.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Our medical facilities here are pretty state-of-the-art.
Yes.
A lot of big buildings, a lot of service with that. Because of the community, a boomer generation that's aging here, there's a lot of geriatrics as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bad word?
Geriatric? No, that's the proper
Okay. Well, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of nursing homes and day spas and caretaking facilities.
Well, and we are getting, my hair is driving me nuts today. We're getting a lot of those assisted livings too. I think that there's 3 coming up that, and it's really quite nice. They have like residentials where, your family members can come and go. They all have garages, carports, whatever. You have 3 meals a day provided in your rent. But then on the other side of it is an assisted living care center. So when your older parents go from being very independent to needing 24-hour medical care, they're still in the same building. And I kind of really like that.
Yeah, I just did for some friends that did a complete restoration of their home, and they lived in it for 35 years, and their kids were back east in Chicago and Florida, so they couldn't be here to take care of them. So they called me and restored the home, sold the home for the couple, and then they live in a facility, I don't know what you call it, a residential care place. There's a lot of that here as well, but because they like the environment, they like the weather, they don't want to go. They've got a lot of relationships here established, and that's hard for parents, especially parents, to kind of uproot from that. So it's kind of the next best thing. There's a lot of that here as well.
Yep.
Our ethnic race background is 85 to 75% white. Black African American is 0.5%.
I think that's increased.
That's increased substantially.
This was in 2010, and so I think that's
1%,
probably increased.
1 to 2%.
Yeah.
American Indian, Alaskan Native, that's probably higher. We do have a lot of Navajos. When you say Alaskan Native, I also consider Navajo and a lot of Hopi Indians. You'll see those.
The reservations.
You have a reservation, just Chippewa West Reservation, just west past Santa Clara.
And there's one in Cedar.
One in Cedar, the Paiute. Asian, et cetera, Hispanic is about 12% right now. 10 years ago it was 9%. Now we're closer to 12%. Quite a large Spanish population.
Well, because they do a lot of our construction.
The largest industry here in Southern Utah is construction, and so we have a lot of Spanish help for that. And they're talented, skilled Hispanics. They do everything from drywall to roofing to framing, even a lot of carpentry work,
the
rock work.
They will say, okay, there's a few crews that my husband works with in Entrada that, it's all natural stone out of the houses. It's not the faux rock. And literally these artists, most of them Hispanic, will just chip away and make the rocks a certain size and fit it in. And if they need a bigger one here, to make that art piece, it's so cool to watch them work.
They're very talented.
Mhm.
So you'll find that, and they have a really strong community here.
Mhm.
They're involved in a lot of extracurricular activities,
Yep.
a lot of sports. You'll see them
Soccer
taking
leagues.
soccer on Sundays. They take up all the soccer fields, and they're out there playing in their own leagues here.
Yep.
So they really have a strong community, and they're rooted here just like anyone else is rooted here.
Absolutely.
With regard to education, which we found was interesting, a lot of the demographics on education, is that in the United States, of those that have attained a bachelor's degree or higher is 27% of the population.
27%.
We are at 29. This is a couple years ago. We're probably closer to 30 to 31 right now.
Mhm.
So that's a high average. So there's a lot of educated people here. Those in the Washington County area, it's about 24%. But just in Utah, we're at 30%, 31%. So if you, again, want to bring a business here to Utah, you got a lot of educated people here.
We have 5 high schools in just St. George area. If you count, well, I guess so, yeah, 5. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5 high schools, 6 coming. There's another one coming. So in 5 high schools in this area, people will ask me, which is the best high school? You know, is there one school that's better than the other? And honestly, I can't say which is the best high school. I think they're all really good. They all have great programs, and they try to kind of feed off each other, right? What are you laughing at?
My kid's good at Dixie, so I'm sorry.
Okay, so I mind it too. My husband coaches at Dixie, but I think that academically, you have to admit, academically it's good. Dixie has great programs for the ROTC.
Yeah.
Pineview has good programs for business. They each kind of picked one industry to specialize in, and there are kids that go from one school to the other for specific classes.
Right.
So I think academically they're pretty even. It depends on, you know, where you live or if you want to be a cheerleader.
Yeah, if the percent of graduates in the Washington County area, in Utah alone, 9% of the population obtains a high school diploma. Nationwide, it's about 85%. So we exceed the national average by about 5 to 6 points.
Yep.
In Washington County alone, we're at 90.7%.
That's a pretty good rate.
So we're above the state average by 1 point. So 90.7% of the population obtains their high school diploma.
Well, and part of that too is that's not just our regular high schools. We have some alternative schools that do different methods of teaching, right? We have one high school here that is pretty much internet only, which is Southwest. I believe there's another one. There's a private school that just came out that's doing a K through 12. And then we have an alternative school called Mill Creek. So, because let's face it, teenagers, they don't always learn in a structured environment that the public school gives, right? So St. George and Washington County offers different avenues so that they can exceed and excel and graduate and become productive adults. Because some teenagers, well, most teenagers make bad decisions at some point, but that doesn't change their whole life.
Right. Some labor statistics with regard here in the Washington County area. Those that are employed are about 53,000, unemployed 5,000. So we have an unemployment rate of about probably the national average, to be honest with you, is closer to 18% if they really report accurately. We have a very low unemployment rate here in Washington County compared to the nation. I don't think that 5 or even 8% is good, but it's much lower than the national average. They report on the national average around 12%, but they really should be closer to 19. So these numbers were a couple years ago. Right now, I think the unemployment rate is a little lower than that.
I think it's a 7.
Yeah, probably 7.
Like 7 or 8, which is really good, I think, honestly. But you know, like I said, a lot of people here, if they aren't working for someone, they're working for themselves. That's how it works.
Any other demographics that you know that you want to?
Oh, let's talk about the colleges. So we were looking up colleges. What did we say? We had 5 colleges in this thing right here. We have Dixie Applied Technology Center. We have Dixie State University, University of Phoenix,
Stevens Henniger College.
Stevens Henniger College, University of Utah Graduate Center, and Utah State University Southwest Region. Those are extension
satellites.
programs.
We have satellite schools for the University of Utah and Utah State here as well. So if you found a program, and there are a couple of graduate programs that you can take from a distance, but you're here on campus, and it would be tied to the University of Utah or Utah State University.
So you could get a degree from there. And I think, Dixie Applied Technology Center is getting ready to expand and build on top of where the old airport was. And they literally are taking over St. George for technical, right? You have your medical assistant, your medical coding, they have welding, they have business. I mean, it's more of the hands-on stuff.
The skills
that you
trade,
need, and
it's where you learn a skill.
They're doing a great job with that.
They're to the west of town. They used to be on campus with Dixie State, but when Dixie State turned into a university, went with a lot of higher advanced degrees, it kind of split off and it's doing something. So a lot of opportunity there as far as demographics are concerned with regard to education. A strong educational component here. They don't pay very well as educators here. We're going to be honest with you.
They don't pay. They don't pay nurses very well either.
The demographic, if you're coming here because you want to make some money, don't
better start
do
your own
it.
business.
You're going to have a struggle with that. If you want to come in and you have some money, or if you want to come in, you want to have a great lifestyle.
Great lifestyle.
You're coming to the right place.
So you take a trade-off, right? But it's not expensive to live here, so you can afford to live in St. George on the amount of money that the colleges give you as a teacher, or the high schools, or the hospital. It's not like you're coming into an area where you're making under affordability. It's just you're not going to make $60 an hour.
No, you won't make that. That doesn't exist here.
Right. And so that's kind of the gist of it.
I don't have anything else. Those are some really interesting demographics. If you want some more, just post us questions down below, and we'll be happy to do the research for you to find what you're looking for, and make your move to St. George, Southern Utah, quick, fast.
Ask lots of questions. I want more people to ask questions because I want to answer questions. And the first podcast we did was 60 minutes. Now we're down to
We want to get it done quick. We don't want to waste your time. So sometimes if we converse and it's 20 minutes, great. If it's 30, great. If we get it done in 15, that's what
wonderful.
the show. Content dictates the length of our podcast.
That's right.
So.
That's right.
That's
So
nice.
if it's good content, we're going to be talking forever.
Anyways, check with us again, and we'll keep posting these podcasts for you. And welcome to Southern Utah Community.
Thank you. Have a nice week and enjoy your weather.